In this video, I will demonstrate how to revert a Cisco Catalyst switch that is being managed in the Meraki dashboard in cloud configuration mode back to a standard standalone Cat 9K. Starting out in the Meraki dashboard, you can see that I am at Pod 2 network and I'm at the switch list. You can see I have two switches, 9323 and 9324. 23 is in device configuration mode and 24 is in cloud configuration mode. I'm going to use C9300-24 in this video to revert back to standard standalone mode. We need to start out by creating a case in the TAC, navigating to the question mark button in the upper right hand corner of the dashboard and selecting Support Center My Cases from the drop down menu. Once in Support Center, we need to open a case. And since we're working with switches, let's go ahead and click the switching button from the list of categories. Next, we need to select the switch that's relevant to this case, which is C9300-24. On the next page, we need to select our case type. This can either be an existing case or attaching to a previous case that you've already had. In this video, I'm going to use create a new case, and from there we need to put a subject line in. I usually put something in like revert C9300-24 back to standalone mode. In the description, put a full description of exactly what you want to do, and what I forgot in this description is put in the cloud ID. So make sure that you put the cloud ID in the description, and then I select severity number 3, and that usually gets them going within 2 or 3 hours. If I do 4, it's usually about 24 hours later before they do the case. So severity 3 usually works well for me. One more thing you'll need is your support customer number and your support passcode. You can get that by clicking on the little people person in the right hand corner and copy and pasting that. Make sure you add that into your description. And again, don't forget your cloud ID, which I forgot to put in this one and had to add it later in the case notes. Once you have everything in the case the way you like it, go ahead and click Next and we'll move on to the summary page. Now I'm going to click I'm not a robot, and then I'm ready to submit the case. So I'll click the Submit Case button. Now at the case summary screen, I'll just go ahead and click Done, and that'll take me back to the main home page of the Support Center. Now I'm going to click on My Cases in the tab at the top, and now you can see the case isn't here yet because I did it so quickly. If you wait a few seconds, the case will pop in to this screen. From this screen, it's pretty quick and easy to see that the case has not been assigned yet by looking at the engineering name on the right-hand side, and it's still blank. I created this case on a Friday when making this video, and coming back on Monday, I'm going to check to see if the case has been updated or finished. So I'm going to go back into my dashboard and then go back to the question mark in the upper right-hand corner, go to Support Center, and then My Cases. You will notice when we get to My Cases that I have no cases, and that's because the TAC engineer closed it, which he doesn't normally do, but I ended up calling him to ask some questions. I did also add C9323 to the list, so I now have 23 and 24 being reverted, but you can see what he did in the final case notes. Most likely when you open a case to revert a switch, the TAC engineer will do the work, but then leave it in open status but completed, and then you can close the case for them, or it will automatically close in 72 hours. So now that we know the status of our case, let's go to Switching Switches and take a look at the two switches. When we get into the switch list, you'll notice that they both have a red dot next to them, meaning they're still in the database. The TAC engineer did not remove them, but he did revert them, so there's no longer contact between the switch and the dashboard. Reverting a switch back to standalone mode from cloud configuration mode is destructive, so they factory defaulted the switch and then rebooted it. So now you can see I need to say no to the dialog box, and then it will ask me for my enable password. So I'll put in my enable password, and then I'll do it again to confirm that it is the correct password. And then it will ask me to hit a number 2 to save my configuration to memory. Remember, in cloud configuration mode, you have no access to CLI at the physical or remote level unless you use Cloud CLI. And in this case, I am now back on my terminal server and have full access to the switch after reverting back to Cat 9K. Let's just take a quick look around the switch. I'm going to first do a show IP interface brief. You can see that I got an IP address from DHCP, and the same interfaces are up as were before. Now let's do a show NTP status, and you'll see that NTP is no longer on because we just factory defaulted the device and there is no basic config yet. Now let's do a show Meraki, which is the new native iOS XE command for Meraki, and you'll see that we do not have the word monitoring on the right hand side, which means there's no tunnels up. Now let's do a show Meraki connect, and you'll see that it is disabled, and again, that's because we have no tunnels connected to the Meraki dashboard. Returning back to the dashboard, again, you can see that both the switches have red dots next to them because they've both been reverted. I'm going to checkbox both of them and click remove. This removes them from my network. Just to reiterate, the TAC engineer does not remove them from your dashboard, he just reverts the switches back and they factory default and reboot. Now that the switch has been removed from the network, we are done, but they're still in inventory. So we can go to organization inventory and we can remove these switches from the inventory. We don't have to remove them if we're going to reuse them again in this organization, but if you want to move them to another organization, you're going to need to remove them. So I'm just going to show that here just again so you can see us removing the switches. I'm going to go ahead and click the checkbox next to the two switches that we just removed from our network, and then I'm just going to click unclaim in the upper right hand corner. This has been a presentation from the Solutions Readiness Engineering team. This is Paul Stryer. Have a good day.